Hello and welcome to this episode of Beyond the Bio, the recap. On this week's episode, I was chatting to Nikki Hutchinson. Now, just as a bit of a recap, if you haven't heard this episode, and if you did miss the episode, then go back and listen to the show so that this recap and subsequent action points makes a bit more sense. So Nikki has spent her career using marketing to grow businesses, both within ad agencies, then her own businesses, and now is running her own agency where she's supporting clients. She is super passionate about teaching other entrepreneurial women how to grow their audiences and businesses without paying for ads. And in this episode, we talked a lot about Nikki's various businesses and how she has used profile raising activities to shine a spotlight both on her and then as a result on her businesses. We talked about Nikki's podcast and how that has been instrumental in raising her profile and creating great content. We spoke a lot about social media and which platforms have been working well for Nikki, how she decides which platforms to use, the scheduling tool that she uses, and how often and how visible she is on each of those platforms. We also talked about awards and a few other bits and pieces as well. So it was a super cool episode in terms of that bigger, more holistic profile raising piece. And I think if you caught that episode, you will see the benefit that Nikki has seen in her businesses. So in terms of an action point from this week's show, the tip that I'm pulling out that I'm going to be implementing in my own profile raising activities is actually going to be a review of the social media platforms that I spend time on. So at the moment, my biggest platform is LinkedIn. I'm very active on there. I'm on there every day, commenting, liking and engaging with people. And I post on there a couple of times a week and usually get a pretty good return. I'll get people messaging me through my DMs to reach out and talk about various things I've been talking about, but also from a business development perspective as well. So I am seeing a return for sure on LinkedIn. The other thing that I can measure quite easily on LinkedIn is that I have a link to our profile raising quiz, which we will also pop in the show notes for this if you've missed it, even though I do talk about it quite a bit. And I can track the people that have completed that quiz that have come from my LinkedIn profile. So that is a really cool way of me being able to see the return on investment on my LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn is my biggest platform for sure. And then I've dabbled in all of the other major platforms. So I haven't really gone down the trendy ones. So I've not done TikTok. I did try Clubhouse, remember that? I tried that and I've dabbled in Threads. But to be honest, I can't really be asked to keep up with the commitment of being on everything all the time because it's just too much. You stretch yourself too thin and I don't think it's good. So the ones that I've also tried is Twitter/X. Now that used to be really good for me in my previous business because a lot of my ideal clients hung out on there, but I think that platform has changed a lot, and although I'm still on there and I do have a presence and I do go on to that, I'm definitely less visible than I was. So I need to review that and see whether that's something that I want to get a bit more back into. The other two that I have a presence on are Facebook. So Facebook, I guess, is confusing me a bit at the moment in that I have a business profile on Facebook and I have the personal profile where we talk about kids and the food that we've eaten and all that stuff. And I think this is one where I either need to maybe convert my personal profile into a more business one or have some posts that I make more visible and turn to a public setting, or I go all in on the business profile and I'm more consistent with that. So again, I need to review this and work it out because I think there's nothing worse than having a dormant profile where you're just not really doing very much with it. I think that's probably more damaging than not having one. So that's up for review for me. And then the final one for me is Instagram, which I started out actually to document some of my property investment journey, and that's kind of come to a bit of a pause at the moment. So I haven't really got too much to say on that and haven't for a bit of time now. So then it kind of morphed into a Moja business profile. And the thing with Instagram is that I quite like it, even though I don't totally know what I'm doing with it still. I do quite like it. So the routine that I've got into now is that I'll post a Beyond the Bio post on a Monday when the main show comes out. And then at some point throughout the rest of the week, I will do a different post, usually business related. And then in my stories, which is where I have all the fun, I will post literally anything and everything. So it might be a combination of business things, so different events that I've been to, or it might be, going out for a meal or, some of that more fun, light-hearted stuff. And I do get quite a few engagements within my stories, so I know that something is resonating within that. So for me, the action point for this week is going to be to review all of my social media profiles, work out where I'm getting the return or where I could get the return if I invested a bit more time. So that is going to be my top tip for this week. I'm going to suggest that you do the same thing. So what is working for you on the socials and what can you commit to? Is there anything you can ditch or is there anything new that you can add? And that is the action point for this week. So as always, good luck with that and let me know how you get on.